friends, my name is Madeline and welcome back to my channel and welcome to what is a very overdue reading update. It has been quite some time since I filmed one of these. We've just been busy traveling, doing different things, and I haven't had a lot of weekend time to film. So I have a lot of books to chat about and to update you on. We will keep things quick and snappy because my husband is outside playing with our daughter right now and I have no idea how long they're going to last out there, so might as well make the most of things. This is mostly what I read in May. I have, I think, one book that I finished in April, and then maybe a couple of things so far this month in June, but most of this I read in May. May was a little bit of a slower reading month. It definitely started off pretty slow. I think I picked up towards the end and was finishing things a little bit quicker. But like I said, there's just a lot going on, busy. Baby boy also is going through his 4-month sleep regression, so I haven't been sleeping very well at night. So I have been reading at night, but like not very much. So anyway, all that to say, May was not necessarily the most stellar reading month. I did read some very good things and I'm very excited to share them with you. Let's get into it. First up, I have this poetry collection that I started for Christmas and it has taken me forever to get through. It's quite short, but it's taken me forever. And that is The Place Within, the Poetry of St. John Paul II. Like I said, it's a very slim volume of poetry, but I am not much of a poetry reader. And so it took me a while to get through, and also like having it as a physical book, I was much more likely to pick up something else to read physically as opposed to the poetry. So I would sometimes just read one poem and then go days or weeks without reading anything else. But anyways, I did tab a couple of things that I really liked. Bless you. Like I said, I'm not much of a poetry reader, so I do think a lot of it went over my head. But this is a collection of his poetry. Some of it he wrote when he was in seminary, and then some of it when he was Pope. So it spans a really large period of time. And it was definitely interesting. I definitely appreciated all of his religious imagery, and there were some really, really beautiful things in it. Also, obviously, this was translated from Polish, so I do wonder if some of the beauty of the poetry gets kind of lost in translation. Like, I'm sure it's a really great translation, but I feel like I was maybe missing something. Maybe it would have been more impactful reading it in the original language. But I'm glad I read it. It's a goal of mine to read more poetry, to kind of expand my reading in that way. So I was glad to finish this. I think I gave it 3.5 stars overall. It's hard to rate a collection of poetry, but I think that's mostly because a lot of it went straight over my head. All right, I finally finished the Betsy-Tacy series. I read the last 2 books, Betsy and the Great World and Betsy's Wedding, and I just loved this so much. In Betsy and the Great World, she takes off for Europe, and we see her traveling through Germany, Italy, a little bit in France, a little bit in England as well. But most of it takes place in Germany. We also get to see her crossing the Atlantic and her travels on the ship. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. In some ways, I was sad to like not get to see all of the characters that you grow to love so much in Deep Valley. But it was really fun getting to see Betsy explore beyond her town, and she comes across some challenges, and she makes some new friends, and it's a really, really sweet story. I do have to say though, Betsy's Wedding was my absolute favorite. It's definitely saves the best for last, in my opinion. This last book was so great. I don't want to say too much because, like, obviously it's kind of spoilery. But once I finished Betsy and the Great World, it kind of ends, not on a cliffhanger, but like you really want to keep going. I immediately started Betsy's Wedding, and those first few chapters were so lovely. They were so sweet, so funny. And I had the best time finishing up this series. I think I talked about in my last video that I had started The Young Stepmother by Charlotte Mary Yonge. I did finish this. I kind of had to force myself to get through it. I don't know if this is partially because I was just really tired and it was a more demanding piece of Victorian literature to read, or if it was just not my favorite, maybe Charlotte Mary Yonge. I still really enjoyed it. I still gave it 4 stars, but there's definitely a good chunk of time in the middle-ish of the book that I just felt like really, really lagged. But basically, we're following Albinia, who is a young stepmother. She's actually really young. She is in her mid to late 20s, I believe, and she becomes stepmother to these like preteen aged children. So she's not much older than them, and there are 3 of these stepchildren. Each of these children has their own things that they are working through, their own struggles, and they need her in different kinds of ways. And Albinia does have a really, really amazing job of being able to see each kid and see what they need from her and be able to help them to the best of her abilities. She makes some mistakes, she doesn't get everything right, but she really puts her heart into it, and you can tell that she just wants so much to do what is right by these kids. Even when she has her own biological children, like, she still cares so much about her stepchildren and tries really, really hard to be the best person she can for them. Beautiful. I loved Albinia's character. I loved getting to follow some of the children's lives as well. One of the children, I won't say who, just kind of absolutely drove me nuts. And I was kind of upset that this character did not get a better ending. This character made a lot of mistakes and made a really poor decision. But I was still like really, really hoping that things would kind of turn around in the end, and it just didn't. It was kind of upsetting that things just kind of remained not great for this character. I don't want to say too much. But yes, I did enjoy it. Like I said, I feel like part of it just moved really slowly for me. But other than that, I'm happy to have finished another Charlotte Mary Yonge, and I'm looking forward to reading more from her. This is really kind of just a series update, except for the Charlotte Mary Yonge and the poetry. I've been reading a lot of series lately, and I have just found that to be really, really comforting. Being sleep deprived and not having a lot of like mental energy to focus on new characters and new stories and like placing things. It's nice to have a series to jump into where you are already kind of familiar with the characters, you already kind of know what's going on. The story just kind of rolls at a slower pace, and it is just working really well for me in this season, so I'm embracing that. I'm not typically someone who just like plows through an entire series. I typically take a lot of time in between books and read a lot of other things, but I'm in the mood for that right now, and it is working for me, so we're sticking with it. I did talk in my last reading update about the first 2 books in the Mitford series by Karon. I continued on. I read books 3, 4, and I'm really, really close to finishing book 5. I think I will probably finish it tonight, if not tomorrow. And I am really enjoying this series. Like I said, I'm still just completely sucked into the world of Mitford, and I'm just loving these characters so much. There are always some kind of funny moments in the books. I've discovered there's like a little bit of a formula, you know a little bit what to expect. There's always a couple of scenes that I think are really, really funny. Plot, but it moves at definitely a slow pace. But there is usually something kind of, not necessarily mysterious, but something kind of like strange going on, something a little bit more like high stakes than the usual day-to-day happenings. We had like a mayor election in book 4 and 3. The characters get kind of trapped in a cave for a period of time, and that was very stressful. I was like very stressed because it covered multiple chapters, this cave scene. I was expecting it to kind of like them quickly get out, and it took much longer than I was prepared for, so that was kind of stressful. But otherwise the books are just very, very calming, very sweet stories to follow. I love Father Tim. He has such a beautiful outlook on life, and he cares so much about his community and is just really, really devoted to these people in his community, the people in his parish, yes, but then also just the people in the wider community. He cares so much about everyone, and I just think it's so beautiful, such a lovely example of how we really need community. We need other people. We're not meant to do this alone. And the books are so wonderful. If you haven't read them yet, I highly recommend it. They're just well-written, beautiful books. All right, and then my final book that I have finished, I am happy to say I finished the Emily of New Moon trilogy by Ellen Montgomery by reading the last book, Emily's Quest. This book is pretty short, and I really did enjoy it. Basically, in this book, Emily's friends, she has this kind of core group of friends that she went through childhood with, and they have all dispersed. All three of her friends are kind of off pursuing their own dreams, doing their own things, and Emily is back living with her family, trying to kind of make it as a writer. Wants so much to be a successful writer, and she is just pouring everything into it. Anyone who I think is creative in any way will identify a lot with Emily and her struggles and the times when it just seems absolutely hopeless. It seems like she's never going to achieve her dreams, but I won't spoil things. Things do eventually work out for Emily. There is a character in here that I really dislike, Dean. I wish he would have been erased kind of from all of the books. And he does get a good amount of time in this book. And I was very worried for how things were going to end up with that character, because I just do not like him very much at all. And so I was happy with how things worked out in that regard. And yes, eventually everything worked out. Like, all of the characters had the ending that I was hoping for them. But the way it happened at the end was not my favorite. I wish that the characters could have gotten their happy ending without all of the kind of drama and crazy things that happened at the end. Again, like, I don't want to get too much into it, but if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of wild at the end, and well, I'm happy with how things worked out. I just wish the way that it went about would have been a little bit different. But anyway, it was still lovely. I really enjoyed my time reading this, and am very happy to have finished the Emily book. All right, that is it for my reading update. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.